Economic Redevelopment Agency will now come to order. Please rise to the Pledge of Allegiance. Sean, you got that camera? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before you sit down, I just want to have a moment of silence for Joan's mom. Thank you. Mr. Secretary, has this meeting been advertised according to law?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, it has.
Joan, roll call, please.
Mr. Diadio.
Here.
Mr. Newton.
Here.
Mr. Travisano.
Here.
Mr. Palanda.
Here.
Mr. Gravellini.
Here.
Ms. Fisher.
Here.
First order of business 5A, authorization for payment of bills, non-NL, that's A through J. Can I have a motion, please?
I make a motion we approve on roll call vote.
Second motion.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Diadio.
Yes.
Mr. Newton.
Yes.
Mr. Travisano.
Yes.
Mr. Palanda.
Yes.
Mr. Gravellini.
Yes.
Ms. Fisher.
Yes.
Second order of business 5B, authorization for payment of bills NL related non-escrow to be paid when funds are available, and that's K and L.
Make a motion we approve on roll call vote.
Second motion.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Diadio.
Yes.
Mr. Newton.
Yes.
Mr. Travisano.
Yes.
Mr. Palanda.
Yes.
Mr. Gravellini.
Yes.
Ms. Fisher.
Yes.
Next order of business 5C, authorization for payment of bills to be paid from escrow accounts to be paid only if escrow funds are available, and that's M through V. Can I have a motion, please?
Make a motion we approve on roll call vote.
Second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Diadio.
Yes.
Mr. Newton.
Yes.
Mr. Travisano.
Yes.
Mr. Palanda.
Yes.
Mr. Gravellini.
Yes.
Ms. Fisher.
Yes.
Okay, pending matters, waterfront redevelopment project, Mr. Sanders.
Yes. We have some good news this week. The good news is that the development has finally received its final wetlands approval for the whole site. They had a partial wetlands for parcel A and for one other area on the site, but the major wetlands approval was the one that they've been working on for the past probably 3-4 years. And they've received that, so that's a milestone for them. Just in a further report, the point is still waiting for that approval of that 1 acre area in order to finish up the radiologicals. They anticipate that to be issued in February now. The state has given them a verbal approval, but they have to go to a special committee that deals with radiologicals to have it formally acted upon. So that 1 acre, that's the hole in the donut, okay, still has to be worked on, but it's not a big area, it's a small area. So that is holding up the final completion of the.
And that's not where the fire was, is it? Is that
What's
the
that?
area where the fire was?
No, it's
Okay,
in the
all right.
Marcelex area.
Okay.
Yeah. Then, at this moment, no work is actually going on the site. I was out there today, and that's because of the fact that they're preparing, if you remember, I reported at the last meeting, we had a problem with them with the soil erosion sediment control measures. They had gone through and given us a revised plan, which is acceptable to us, and we reported. Now they have to start implementing the plan, which means they have to bring in tire wash facilities. They have to start stabilizing, basically shooting the fill areas that they have there with hydroseed or some type of a mulch so that it doesn't blow the dirt around. That is supposed to start next week, and they're probably going to start bringing in more truckloads of fill for capping the site. We had a meeting with Dan Bush from Mazer. They're working on the final resolution of compliance items for their plans on the GDP and the Bass Pro, because those aren't yet done. But I'm told we should be receiving them next week. So they're making progress. It's slower than we'd like, but they are making progress. The big one is the wetlands.
Who's the person who's there now? Is that a new person or no person?
There is no person that has been assigned to Brian's spot.
Okay.
Gene Dooley
Okay.
was his assistant out there, and he's kind of taking
Okay.
on that. I spoke with him today. He indicated to me he didn't realize that tonight was a meeting, otherwise he'd be here.
Right.
But he's not the official person yet, because we haven't heard that from Brian Senior, so.
Are they doing a lot of work, what down there? Because on a Saturday and a Sunday, I went by there and the gates were open, so what's?
Well, they were probably in the trailers going through and doing different things, but construction,
Oh, okay.
I don't think was going on at that point in time. And when they're in the trailer, they usually leave the gate open. But if you noticed, if you drive down Chevalier Avenue, you'll see that the filled areas that they have as surcharge areas, some of them have even a layer of stone on top of them
Right.
in order to control the dust and things like that. So
Right.
they're finally paying attention
Right, yeah.
to our requirements.
Anyone else have any questions, Dave? Joe, you have any?
Just escrows have been replenished, $200,000 administrative fee has been paid, and 98% of the taxes have been paid. There's a little bit of an issue between Saraville Seaport and our tax assessor with the assessment for the three smaller properties, trying to work out. But the vast majority of the taxes haven't been paid, so we're pretty much current as far as that goes, even without, I mean, Brian did square that away at my request before, but hasn't become actively involved.
I have nothing to report from legal end.
Okay, next item, adoption of the 2017 budget.
Yes, the agency accepted the budget, which allowed me to submit it to the state. They had a couple of minor requirements that they addressed. They have been addressed, nothing material, nothing of substance. And so we are proposing that the agency adopt the 2017 budget for that.
Should we do that now?
No, I'm just, if anyone has any questions about that now, otherwise we can do that in terms of when the resolution.
On one page where they have to, how much the budget was and everything, they have the salaries for the council people listed on there, is that?
Yeah, that was actually one of the,
But that's not,
Pickup,
we're
that was-
not paying that though.
no,
Okay, yeah,
we're not
I was
paying
wondering,
that.
why is this
They
listed on
had,
there?
that was one of the requirements that they
Right,
had.
okay,
We are
yeah.
not paying that,
Right,
no,
yeah, right,
that is not
yeah.
part of our
Right,
budget.
yeah.
Requires to put it in to the
Yeah,
budget?
they wanted it
Yeah.
in, and we,
That's what I was asking.
that had not been a requirement
Right.
before,
Right.
so they wanted it in, they wanted
Yeah.
to break down, we gave them the breakdown.
Yeah,
But it is not part of our budget, no.
Yeah, but that's why I was asking the question.
But that was one of the things that I said
Before.
wasn't really material, don't really know why they wanted it.
Yeah.
They wanted it,
Yeah.
we gave it to them,
Right,
just what you do.
That's not gonna make somebody up thinking that Don said that we're paying.
No, we're not, we're not paying them. No.
Public's gonna say you gotta pay for both sides.
On the sheet, it does look that way.
Yeah, that, yeah.
But it's not, it's an informational thing more than anything else.
All right, anyone else have any questions about the budget?
So this is the final time we're gonna
Presentation,
adopt
Leaf
it.
Industries. At least. Should we phone in or-
Yes, we should see if they're ready. There were, I think, a couple of other folks that come out. By the way, everybody has in front of them minutes from the July 9th, 2015 meeting, which I believe is the last time they were in. Just partial minutes having to do with, Mr. Vignolo, you ready?
We are, yeah.
Great. Yeah, we have, the,
Easel?
easel, yeah.
I don't see one. We used to have. There must be.
Back there.
Oh, wait a minute, here it is. Here it is.
Okay, he's got an easel.
He has.
You got one?
I know. Then I figured I shouldn't do that.
Oh, actually, the TV is there, so we're Tony.
Where's our water? I forgot.
How many? 19? 24, yeah.
Joe, we've got extra copies of the plans if you needed more, we wasn't sure.
Yes, could you please hand them out, Mr. President?
I'm sorry?
Could you, just give it to him, we'll disperse it.
Okay.
Mr. Vinolo has given us copies of plans at our request, so that everyone can have one in front of them while they're going through their presentation. Anthony.
I have. Yeah, one.
No, we are.
Unless you want to share. Unless you want to share.
You open that one,
You ready? You start.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Tony Vignolo. I'm the applicant's attorney. The applicant is Leaf Industries. We've been here a couple of times before. So in answer to a lot of questions that were raised last time we were here, we have Mr. Vincenti, our engineer and expert with respect to, I guess, some of the questions that were raised, and a new plan that has been presented to you as well, as will be explained by Mr. Vincenti. He also requested some architectural, so we'll deal with that as well. So I'd like to have you sworn so we can, I guess, get the presentation started.
Sir, have you appeared before this board before?
No, I have not.
Please state your credentials for the record.
My name is John Vincenti. I'm a licensed professional engineer and planner in New Jersey. I'm also a certified municipal engineer. Been licensed in New Jersey since 1989 with a Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering from Rutgers, New Jersey. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Vincenti, you were involved in the preparation of the plans concerning the site development?
Yes, I was.
Okay. Just identify those for the record.
So what we have, what I kind of put on the board is a copy of the landscape plan, which is sheet number 2 of the overall set of plans prepared by Jason Engineering, which is my plan. The first sheet is the concept plan. The second is the landscape plan. I chose this plan because it's a little larger scale. It also shows some of the landscaping that we're proposing, because that was one of the issues that had popped up in Mr. Senni's letter. Second plan I have is a copy of the preliminary architectural plans for the building, prepared by Roy Quackenbush, a local architect. Essentially what we're proposing, the site's on Gurney's Mill Road, Red Oak Lane, which is a private road, is to the south. We're proposing to access off of Red Oak Lane. We're proposing 11,250 square foot warehouse, generally warehouse, but there is some office space that we contemplate. Has 20 car parking spaces, 50 spaces for trailers.
How many spaces, I'm sorry?
50 for trailers. Generally, that ratio is pretty consistent with what you would see for spec warehouse facilities. As far as the building is concerned, this is the southerly facade. It's a 30-foot high, one-story building. The lower portion of the building would be a decorative split block. The office is in the front. We're showing approximately 20% office space for 2,250 square feet. The side is the typical metal building, and then the rear, concealed from the street view, we're showing 5 loading docks to the rear. The loading would occur behind the building, to the north end of the building, away from the roads, also away from Journey's Road. That's pretty much it from a conceptual standpoint.
Just with respect to the utilization of the property, how much of the property is actually going to be utilized in connection with this project?
Well, it's probably about 40% with respect to this portion of it.
40%, the building is 40%, or are you counting the?
Well, the site development, I'm approximating 40% of the site dedicated to this first building, dealing with building, parking, stormwater management facilities, and
Just refresh my memory a little bit. I know we talked about the trailers. Are they gonna be licensed road-ready trailers, or
Yes.
are they for storage?
No, they're road ready
So
trailers.
cabs are gonna be bringing them in and they're pulling them out?
Yep, yes.
This, I'll interject, by way of recollection and probably refreshing for people who have not been here the last time. This is a facility that's gonna be used in connection with my clients' businesses. There's a facility that we own in Sayreville called Jersey Cooperage. There's a facility in Rawley, New Jersey called Rawley Steel Drum. There's a facility in Pennsylvania called Williamsport Steel Container. So those various locations generate a demand for drums and delivery of drums and containers that we sell throughout this area, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut.
And stuff from
Yeah.
other manufacturers.
And we will be using this for that purpose. In other words, for delivery purposes, for storage within the building of our product that we purchase from other people until we get to a customer. Now, I think we described this last time. A trailer may come in with various types of drums and containers on it, and it may go to a customer, and we have to wait until the various pieces are assembled into that trailer. So the trailer may be on the site for a number of weeks until it's filled, and then it'll be removed. But it's not for storage. There's nothing that's gonna be stored on this site except for transportation to the site and transportation from the site to customers and to our own facility.
I happen to work in the shipping business, and I know that's pretty typical. I deliver loads of liquor sometimes, and a guy will keep it there. We'll keep the trailer there for a few weeks, and use it as a warehouse, which is fine, as long as it's not there, for 6 months with no plates on it and not inspected, and, then it's a warehouse.
Yeah, well,
Right, but
we don't
trailers
need-
coming in and out every couple of weeks, even if it sits there a couple of weeks, that's not an issue. But a trailer sitting there that's not roadworthy and not inspected and not able to be on the road, that's a problem.
We don't anticipate any of that happening.
Okay.
We have, I guess, the Jersey Cooperage site is also in a redevelopment zone, so that's a SERA location as well. That facility has fixed storage outside the building, and it's grandfathered in from the, I guess, the early '80s, or late '80s, or, I'm sorry, early '80s, late '70s. Those are trailers that's what's happened. Pieces of them have been removed, they've been supported, there is some outside storage there. But that's not the intention here at all.
Is it your intention to close the place on Main Street and move totally over
No.
there, or are you still keeping that place?
Yeah, that facility performs a different function. It has an incinerator. That facility rehabilitates drums. So if a vehicle comes in with, I don't know the numbers, let's say 50 drums that need to be, to go through the incinerator and then be refurbished, that's what happens at that location. But if, for example, those 50 drums now have been refurbished and are going to be sold, they might be warehoused at this location.
It's a warehouse.
Right.
So the drums that are there, they're gonna stay there as storage down at River Road. They're gonna stay there, all those trailers are for storage, right?
I'm sorry?
Every trailer down there is being utilized for storage, or are they being utilized?
No, I don't think they were being used for storage. I'm saying there are some that are. As a matter of fact, there's like, if I remember correctly, there's some of them were maintained in part of the,
Most of them are roadworthy.
yeah, but
But-
there were some that needed to be removed. They were actually, we removed. We've gone,
Just as far as the applicant's concerned, the application on River Road is not before this.
not at
board
all.
right now.
No, I'm just trying to show that.
I know, and I understand my commissioner's concerns, but you as an attorney should be bringing up that application is not before this board.
Well, it isn't. I was trying to give,
I
in
know you're
order to
trying to be nice,
demonstrate.
but as far as the record's concerned, I just want to make it clear that application is not before this board.
Absolutely.
It's this application, and we're going to concentrate the
Yeah,
questions.
what I was
on-
trying to do is give you, you asked whether or not things were gonna be stored there, and I was trying to give you the example of why it would not be stored here.
Okay, I just want to, my rationale was that that's still gonna stay there, so it really has nothing to do with the other building down there. If you're gonna store your things that you're doing there, well then,
Well, the business grows, and so, that facility isn't adequate for all of my client's needs. He needs more space, and he needs to sell more product, and he's selling more product. We also have a facility in Cranberry,
I know, I know.
I'm sorry, Rawway moved to Cranberry.
Yeah, I know where they all are. I
Are you
know.
planning on building other buildings here?
No, not at this
He
time.
just
But
said this is the first.
there's certainly,
space for it.
there's certainly an alternative to construct future buildings in the future. And we've sort of taken that into account with respect to how we've kind of laid out the parking. There potentially could be additional buildings or an additional building along Journeys Mill Road with an interconnection.
But that's not part of the application at this time.
No, he said the first building, that's the reason I asked that question.
Well, it's the only building that you're
Well,
considering.
you should say-
On this plan, yes.
Yeah, that's all it
This
is.
building, that's it.
This is the only building that's being presented to you.
On this plan.
How many trailers do you think you'll have in that location at one time?
I don't know the exact number. I guess
There's space for 50.
there's space for 50 trailers. There couldn't
It
be more
sounds
than
like a
50.
lot.
There could be more than 50?
There couldn't, I said there couldn't be more than 50. There's only
Okay.
space for 50, but I don't
Just
think there's
wanted to
there would be
clarify
50.
Tony, if, from the standpoint of the use, since there's no manufacturing going on, since there's no rehabilitation going on, explain to me why or how this is being used for storage and why you have to have so many trailers for such a small building. If you can explain that, that would be helpful.
Well, the storage that's gonna take place within is transitional storage. It's materials coming in from different locations, being stored there. The trailers that are gonna go to different customers are gonna be stored there as well until they're either loaded or unloaded. So it's a little different than what's taking place at the other location, because there's rehabilitation taking place. It's basically storage and transition of product.
Are there storage from the other Rawway and Cerebral as well?
Rawway is now Cranberry, I got corrected.
Oh,
Yeah,
Cranberry.
Right.
They're gonna be stored here as well?
To the extent that they're needed in connection with a customer. So for example, if a customer orders a certain size, and I'll let Tony answer that. You, okay, just tell
All
me.
right,
tell me.
Sarah, if you're gonna speak, please come up and we'll have to swear you in,
Yeah.
if that's okay with your
Good.
attorney.
Sure, absolutely.
State your name for the record.
Anthony Bowyer.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you, sir.
The question is, I guess, to what extent will product from Jersey Cooperage come to this location?
Product from Jersey Cooperage or wherever will be only the finished product.
Right.
Not the used drums that need to be processed, not anything else. It's going to alleviate some of the congestion at the other place, which I know is not part of this, because we need warehousing, and this is part of it. And we handle many, many items, and empty containers take up a lot of room. If you manufacture drugs, you get all your raw materials in, everything, but you only want the drums on the day you're gonna fill them, because they take up a lot of room. So empty containers take up room. You know, it's not 20 tons of beans that are on, this high. So there'll be, we handle everything from pint cans, okay, up to 350-gallon totes that are on pallets. We have the ones we recondition, we have the ones we manufacture, and we distribute products from many other manufacturers. Okay, so we're in reconditioning, we're in distributing, and we're in, and we resell them. This is gonna be used to warehouse the finished products from wherever they come from.
So once the product's finished, it gets loaded in the trailer and then delivered, or does it
Yeah.
come back out of the
Yeah,
trailer?
it possibly could have something that's gonna go get processed, that, in transit, but that would be minute. Nothing is gonna be done there except the finish, the deliveries. We bring in a load of 200 of this, and a guy comes and picks up 50, somebody picks up 20, and that's multiplied by 1,000. So that's why it takes up a lot of room.
So are you saying that there might be barrels that come in that are not processed yet?
That's possible.
Okay, in other words, like what you would process them at your Cooperage plant, clean them somehow, whatever process
Yes.
they go through, but some of those barrels that have some contamination that need to be cleaned or
Well,
processed
first
could
of
be
all,
at the site.
the contamination,
All right.
they're not contaminated.
I won't use contamination, I'll say that the barrels that need to be processed, some of those could be transported to this site, stored there for a period, either in the warehouse or in the trucks, and then maybe go to be
Well,
processed somewhere else.
let me put it to you this way. Suppose you were my customer, and you wanted me to recondition some drums for you, okay? So you sent one of your trailers that had drums that were gonna be reconditioned, and you said, I wanna pick up 50 new drums and deliver them. After I deliver those 50 new drums, I'm gonna bring that trailer over to Jersey Cooperage and leave those drums there. Okay? So that's possible. They won't get off the trailer, they won't be processed there.
All right, so there wouldn't be, since the warehouse has nothing to do with processing, there wouldn't be any drums in need of processing moved into the warehouse. They'd be on the truck and then transported over to Cooperage or some other site.
Right.
And when you say product, what are you just talking about these drums, or are you talking about drums filled with material?
No. No, our business is shipping containers. Plastic pails, steel pails, fiber drums, steel
Okay, so
drums, plastic drums.
none of these items will be filled with anything, or,
No.
they'll just all be empty?
They'll be empty.
Dave, you have any questions?
I think the major concern that we have is that there's a specific prohibition to temporary storage of transportables, okay, in the requirements of this redevelopment plan. So it appears to me that a large amount of material may be stored in trailers on the site, as well as the warehouse, okay? The warehouse, we have no problem with, but what the ordinance anticipates is that there's not really going to be any storage in the trailers. And the main concern that I have is that the parking area and the number of trailers, it seems to be encouraging a lot of transportable use on the site. And that, I think we have to hear from the applicant to find out specifically what he is doing. And the parking lot in relationship to the number of trailers in relationship to the size and square footage of the building is disproportionate. Throughout the town where we have warehousing, we may have a large warehouse, but we would not have a warehouse that is, or a parking lot that is 6 or 7 times as large as the warehouse. So it's a concern from the standpoint of, one, does it comply with the redevelopment plan? Because the redevelopment plan prohibits transportables, okay? And the other one is just from the standpoint of proportionality. If that particular size warehouse doesn't really need that size of a parking lot and 50 stalls for trailers to support it, then why build that large, okay? Because it increases the coverage and everything else. So it's really a question that the agency has to go through and review.
Yeah, well, is it time for me to respond? Okay. I totally disagree with Mr. Sampson. I've done that a lot.
Samson?
Sam.
He's up north.
Just by way of background, the opinion that was given in connection with this project was that there could be no warehouse here. And we had to go to the appellate division, and you have a copy of that in your record, because it was determined that we could put a warehouse here. And sought to be re-agendized. So that goes back to 2010. So we've been trying to develop this property for 6 years. We bought it as part of an earlier deal with this agency when we were going to relocate Jersey Cooperage to another site. That was with an earlier agency and an earlier piece of litigation. And this property was purchased for that express purpose, to relocate Jersey Cooperage to this site and to obtain funding that was going to be provided. The funding never came, the developer never came, and so we decided to separately develop this property. I absolutely disagree with Mr. Samuels in terms of what he's calling a transportable. Number one, it's called temporary transportables, which are not defined in your zoning ordinance, temporary transportables. Trailers are defined. Trailers are defined, and if you look at what a trailer is in your ordinance, it defines exactly what we're gonna have here. Something that's either driven or transported with a tractor for the purpose of going on a roadway, properly licensed. That's what we're gonna have here. There's no storage that's gonna be here. There's not gonna be anything that's gonna be left here for the purpose of remaining here for storage purposes. That's why we have a warehouse, put things into it. And as I said, we've been involved in Mr. Samuels giving legal opinions as to what the ordinance means and what your ordinance means for the purpose of interpretation, so we've had to go to the appellate division to correct that.
You happen to have a lawyer here.
I know you do, right? And he was involved in the litigation. Unfortunately, he wasn't involved in terms of when the planning board was involved and it made a decision that, upholding this board's decision that this use was not permitted. So,
Mr. Chairman, I think that, just to correct things, I don't think that we or the agency has ever had a problem with the warehouse, okay? But I do want to go through and correct Mr. Vignola, not from a legal standpoint, but from the standpoint of what the ordinance says. The ordinance does give a definition for trailer, and the ordinance does give a definition for transportable. And transportable, this is reading right out of the ordinance, means prefabricated container, trailer, or converted or altered vehicle structure used or intended for use as a temporary or permanent storage or occupation site. The term transportable shall not include prefabricated sheds for use on residential properties. Transportable shall include emergency temporary residential transportables, temporary construction site trailers, temporary storage transportables. So that's what the ordinance is referring to when it says there shall be no transportables.
no, that's also incorrect. And I'll direct you to the ordinance that created this agency. And I'll direct you to page 11, which talks about storage, service, and loading areas. It talks about temporary storage transportables shall not be permitted. It doesn't say transportables shall not be permitted. It doesn't define, as I said, temporary transportables. So, page 11, item 4, under storage, service, and loading areas. And it finishes with temporary storage transportable shall not be permitted. It doesn't define temporary storage transportables, but it's exactly what you're thinking that is a problem. And we're telling you that's not gonna happen here. These are trailers. These are on-the-road trailers.
Proportionality that our engineer's bringing up.
I'm sorry?
With the proportionality that you have a small warehouse and a
Well,
large.
you've heard from our expert that.
How many
that
square
this-
feet your warehouse?
11,250 square feet. I wouldn't.
I had a video store that size.
I wouldn't disagree that the proportion is a little high. However, it's not unique, and this is not unique to this particular site. I think if you go to, for instance, the Cranberry area, the Turnpike, a lot of those larger warehouses
Yeah,
have
but those are
significant-
industrial parks.
But the
There's no
point is
surprise.
they have significant additional truck
You know,
trailer
and they have it
parking
in
space.
Wyoming too, and it doesn't relate to this site. I mean, this isn't what we have on Journeyville Road.
And
Any chance that
Chairman,
you could, before I give it to Anthony, any chance you could make the warehouse bigger and the parking lot a little smaller, or no?
And then what's the next step? Huh?
No, again, this.
What's the next?
Well, this is the application. As I said, it's taken us 6 years to get to this point, 2 lawsuits. So let you make your decision on this one and see where we go.
Yeah.
Mr. Vignola, I'm not gonna make a legal opinion off the cuff, but what I would ask from you and your client, your professional, is to provide the agency with all the facts to support that this is not a temporary storage transportable, so that the agency can review it, look at the ordinance, to make a decision. So if you could provide all the facts to support your position, I'd appreciate it, so.
Wait, I'm sorry, just so that I understand.
We're-
Facts apart from the testimony. So-
No, facts from your client, facts from your professional, from you to support that this is not a temporary storage transportable. I'm not gonna make, the agency's not gonna make a decision, I'm not gonna give a legal opinion right off the cuff.
Okay.
What I would like from your team is all the information, all the facts, so that we can compare it to the ordinance and make a decision whether or not it's transportable or not.
Yeah, sure, of course, we all know that.
Let's keep the dialogue going, this is good, so, continue.
Okay, obviously, we'll incorporate some of what's been testified to here, so we'll order a copy of the transcript in order to supplement that in our submission to you.
What else?
That's for the board to decide. That's for the board to decide.
Any questions or
I
comments
didn't
from the
get anything. I
commissioners?
didn't get anything.
Dave?
Mr. Chairman, one of the things that they have been waiting for a while is that they be named redeveloper for the site, okay? If the board deems it appropriate to take action tonight to conditionally name them as a redeveloper, subject to providing this information, okay, and information related to whether or not they're going to reduce the size of the parking, and hold that open, at least you can go through and deal with that issue and go through and make it conditional upon providing the other information to the board, so that you are at least assisting them in moving forward. But the final decision on whether you're approving this can be placed on an agenda once you get the information that Anthony has requested.
Okay, I don't have any issue with that. Anyone have a problem with that?
No, so we have to vote on that?
Yeah.
So we gotta make a motion to,
Anthony has a draft resolution, I think that's appropriate.
all right. Does that suffice for you?
Well, it lets us,
It's a step forward.
it gives us half the battle. We can now know that we can do something on the property ourselves, which is.
It's Christmas, we're giving you.
Yeah, thank you, we appreciate it. And the second part will be, I guess, the plan, the approval of the plan, so we'll have to see what the plan is, because obviously we can't go forward with the developing anything until we know what we can build.
Well, you're gonna respond to.
No,
what's
absolutely,
there,
no,
so-
I'll respond quickly, but I presume, not presuming a lot, but you don't have another meeting until January. So, no, okay, I can respond tomorrow, but, I'm gonna wait until January, until we have another meeting and there's more discussion about it, so.
Well, you're probably not gonna start building until the spring anyway, right? I mean, we're getting into the winter.
Well, there's issues, there's financing issues, there's selecting contractors, there's a lot of things that have to be done. We can't do anything until, we have a plan that's been approved.
It's not
It
like
sounds
it's
like
6 months
proportionality.
away, I mean, January.
No,
is
I'm not.
A few weeks.
It's a year and a half since you were here last time.
I'm not saying no, all I'm saying to you is that it's half a loaf, yeah, we'll appreciate it.
Okay, the last
But
time.
Mr. Chairman, I also think the board should make it clear that the board doesn't have a problem with the warehouse, okay? If the concerns are with what the definition of temporary transportable is and how it applies to this site.
I think more importantly is proportionality. I mean, the size of the warehouse to the number of parking.
Here, and we're not going back to something else, and find another excuse.
Okay.
Question, is your client willing to look into reducing the number of stalls so that's proportionate?
But we believe that we're gonna demonstrate that they're necessary. So the short answer tonight is no. If it's something that, you want to consider by way of a reduction, approval, subject to approval with a reduction of the number of units, but we're gonna get into, and I litigate more than I develop, so that's part of my problem. We'll get into what evidence did you rely upon, apart from what's been presented to choose that number, you know, if 50's not, if 50's the wrong number, then how did you come to a number, and where did it come from? And so we'll come back again to say, well, what document, what testimony did you rely upon to come to that number? So if all you're gonna get is something from me to support that, and the numbers, if a different number is gonna be chosen on the plan, then I don't have any way of responding to that or dealing with that until, you know, you make some decision or some additional evidence is presented to this board that I can deal with.
Your client kind of said before that he almost was willing, but he said, what else? What's coming next?
Well,
Like he would be willing to make this
I-
change.
I'm not saying no. For example, if you said tonight, if this were a discussion, this is a negotiation session, and you say you're gonna approve 45 trailers, you know, we'll step outside and say, approve 45 trailers. I mean, that's the point. You know, I don't know where we are in terms of the approval process. If we're that close to resolving it and making a deal, absolutely. But we'll talk this evening.
I think our attorney told you where it's at, and I think
I have
that,
some
you know, we're,
questions.
you know, I think we need you to demonstrate what you're looking, what's gonna be there and what it all means. And we'll give you the half a loaf because, you
Okay.
know, we feel we could do that at this particular time.
All right,
Okay,
Tom,
and
let,
I guess-
yeah,
Mr. Vignolo, what does your client anticipate in terms of the number of trailers to be on site? Like, for example, any given month, do you expect 25, 30, 40 trailers to be on site? Do you have?
Well, the for instance I can give you is that the number of trailers that we have on the smaller site at Jersey Cooperage is, I think, 30, and it's a smaller building.
You have
So,
30.
you know, there's 30 there pretty regularly. You know, they were, matter of fact, let me say this. I hate to be historical, but part of the agreement that we had with SERA was to pay rent based upon the number of trailers at that location. And they were physically counted, you know, every month so that the rent was appropriately paid. So I'm gonna say it was 30, I think it might have been as many as 40 sometimes because we had to pay an enhanced rent. So that's part of the, if you will, the factual justification. You know, these are, you're not approving that site, but it's interdependent with this site.
No, just trying to get an idea of where you got the 50 stalls from, and that makes sense, that if you have 30 on the Jersey Cooperage site, you're anticipating you're gonna have 30 to 50 on this site.
It doesn't make sense because you're comparing apples and
Right.
oranges. This is a different operation, it's a different set of circumstances, so it's gotta sit on its own merit. All right?
And excuse me, but you're in transportation,
Yes.
and you certainly know there's no crystal ball to know how many are gonna be here today and how many next week. So,
There's bus-
if
well,
I
my
had that
bus-
crystal
My
ball.
business is busy seasons, I don't know what the busy season is for barrels,
Look, But
For us,
you
it's
understand what I'm
Christmas.
saying?
Can you give, Mr. Vanilla, an example of a shipment coming in and the process of, you know, from coming in, parking, getting
Well,
done?
it could be as simple as one of our trailers coming in and being unloaded and the trailer leaving the same day.
Same day.
It could be that simple.
Okay.
It could also be something as more complex as Vignolo Industries needing a certain number of trailers. Some of them have come from one location. We're waiting for some pieces to come here, some pieces to be delivered from another site until the trailer can be fully loaded and sent to Vignolo Industries. So, you know, you multiply times the number of customers and orders that you have, that's what creates the ambiguity in terms of.
As your chairman said before, a couple of weeks, that's not a problem. And that's what we're anticipating. We're not anticipating anything stays there forever.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else?
The only thing, I have a question, Mr. Chairman. The last time we were here, I did receive a copy of Mr. Samuel's report with respect to the last plan that was
You
submitted.
didn't get one?
I didn't get anything today, so if there's something that we haven't seen before, I certainly would like to see it and be able to respond to it.
Is that the last time you were here, July 9th?
Yes?
A year and a half, through 2015?
Yeah, it's a long time.
Yes, yes.
All right, so there's really no urgency now, right? Or is there urgency now? And it's been a year and a half.
Well, it's been, as I said, it's been closer to 6 years, but well, but I want to be able, I guess what I'm trying to say is I want to make sure that I know everything that's on the table that you want us to address. And so this is, we haven't seen this, so I'm not sure, apart from Mr. Samuels may have spoken these observations as opposed to our seeing them before. pull out some, if not, I'll cover these.
With respect to the applicable NAICS codes, the intent is.
Well, I have the code, if someone wants, if you just want to put it in the
To
record.
be a permitted use in your zoning ordinance.
Well, that's what we
That's the
wanted to do.
underlying under.
We understand, we just wanted to go through and verify that based upon the NIAC code.
Well, the NIAC code I can give you, it's for warehousing, you know, I have it here, right here. Of course, I had it. It's
You know what?
general warehousing and storage 493110, under 493 of general warehousing.
Do me a favor, include that in your
Report.
information that you're going to provide.
With respect to the last item, signage, we do show a sign detail.
Okay.
And location on the plan. It's generic in nature. It gives you basically, the intent is location and overall size.
Okay.
Anything else? No. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Yeah, we'll have to do the motion.
Oh, well, yeah, wait for the motion.
That happens
They're-
later on
they
the
are.
agenda.
Yeah, they are.
You can stay and watch, we're not telling you to leave.
Oh, I see. Sorry.
Don't be sorry, you gotta.
Continue attending that.
Next item on the agenda is RFPs for River Road parcels. Progress report.
Yes, I just wanted to report that we have the RFP done, with exception to some maps that I have to include in the appendix. My staff are drawing those up right now. But the issue is, we don't recommend that you issue this until January of next year, because nobody responds to RFPs like this over the Christmas holidays. So if you could just make a motion that says that you authorize the executive director to advertise for the RFP. That's the only thing we need you to do, and then in January, we'll advertise it. February, we'll receive the proposals hopefully, and then we can see what comes in.
I make a motion, we have our director go out, RFP, advertise for RFP.
Second.
John, roll call, please.
Mr. Diadio?
Yes.
Mr. Newsom?
Yes.
Mr. Travisano?
Yes.
Mr. Fernando?
Yes.
Mr. Gabelli?
Yes.
Ms. Fisher?
Yes. Joe, you got a copy of that? Yes.
I have a draft copy
Okay.
of the,
I wanna read
of
it.
the RFP.
I don't need it
Yeah,
right
we
now.
have, no, if you wanna read it.
Are you gonna read it?
I haven't read it yet.
Don, probably the final will be, with the plans, will be given to Joe next week, so just so that you know.
Okay,
because
nice.
they're
I'll be a call,
being
as soon as I
drafted.
receive the final, all right?
That's what
Okay,
my
I have a
deal.
motion to go into closed.
Make a motion, we go into close.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. John, would you turn that camera off?
Back on, Joe.
Back on, Joe. Okay.
Okay. All right, and the new business, resolution adopting the 2017 budget. You want to read that into the record, or is that the whole thing?
That's the whole thing. Resolution of the Cerro Economic and Redevelopment Agency adopting the 2017 budget.
Have a motion, please?
Make a motion, we approve on roll call.
Second motion.
Roll call, Joan?
Mr. Diadio?
Yes.
Mr. Newsom?
Yes.
Mr. Travisano?
Yes.
Mr. Palando?
Yes.
Mr. Gabelli?
Yes.
Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
On letter, writer, we agree with. What's the guy's name?
Enright. Enright.
Enright.
NJ,
NJ Enright?
NW Capital Markets,
Oh, okay.
right?
Yeah.
That's Enright?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Resolution of SERA appointing bond underwriter for redevelopment matters pursuant to the fair and open process, and that would be NW Capital Marketers, Inc. Can I have a motion?
Make a motion, we approve on roll call vote.
Second motion.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Diadio?
Yes.
Mr. Newton?
Yes.
Mr. Travisano?
Yes.
Mr. Palanda?
Yes.
Mr. Rebelli?
Yes.
Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
Resolution of SERA appointing bond counsel for redevelopment matters pursuant to fair and open process, and I would nominate Joe Dakotas.
Second.
Make a motion, we approve on roll call vote.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Diadio?
Yes.
Mr. Newton?
Yes.
Mr. Travisano?
Yes.
Mr. Palanda?
I abstain.
Mr. Rebelli?
Yes.
Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
Can you second it?
Well, I could.
No, Dennis seconded it.
I second
Oh,
it. I just made the
You made the
motion.
motion.
I made the
second.
motion.
Yeah.
Joan, put me down as making the motion, right?
Right.
I'll take the motion. I mean,
All right.
how do you know you couldn't?
Yeah, Tom's gonna, he's.
I abstain.
And we don't have, we can cross off the,
Consultant.
Financial consultant.
Yeah. And we're gonna hold off on,
the last one is the leaf,
All right.
leaf resolution.
Right, Anthony, you wanna read that into the record, please?
Resolution of the Sayreville Economic and Redevelopment Agency designating Leaf Industries LLC as conditional redeveloper.
Have a motion, please? Anyone wanna make the motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Diadio?
Yes.
Mr. Newton?
Yes.
Mr. Travisano?
Yes.
Mr. Palanda?
Yes.
Mr. Rebelli?
Yes.
Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
Any comments from the
Oh,
commission?
Highview,
The,
Yeah, what about the,
Highview.
what about the resolution, yeah, regarding Highview?
Oh.
I mean, we don't have that listed, but
Yes, so, regarding the Highview Homes redevelopment project, this is a resolution authorizing that the annual redevelopment fee contained in the redevelopment agreement be prorated from the due date through the end of December 31, 2016.
Pending days.
No, we're not issuing the certificate of completion until after they're paid.
right,
That
they gotta
doesn't
pay
have to be
first
the
before they get it.
Correct. First, the redeveloper has to pay the fee. Once we receive the fee, they're in compliance with the redevelopment agreement, and then the agency can issue the certificate of completion as recommended by Mr. Samuel.
Do you have a motion, please?
Do you have any questions, Ryan?
You have a question?
No.
I move the resolution be approved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Diadio?
Yes.
Mr. Newton?
Abstain.
Mr. Travisano?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Palanda?
Yes.
Mr. Rebelli?
Yes.
Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
Okay. Any comments from the commissioners? Okay, you're not a commissioner, but
I'm not a commissioner,
glad to hear from you.
Hearing none from the commissioners, I do have one other item to report. I've been in communication with National Amusements, and National Amusements was reviewing different things with me, and I think that they are going to go through and pursue redeveloping the site in partnership with another company. Not positive of that yet, but I had a discussion with them about a week and a half ago, and we talked about the problems on the site and how they have to go through and provide better access, and how the agency and the borough would like to go through and see a higher end use on the site, because he had asked me about warehousing, and I told him I didn't think warehousing was really appropriate for that. I said the borough has always, and I said the agency has always anticipated that to be a prime spot for a higher end use, hotels, conference centers, things like that. When I told him that a week and a half ago, he said, well, let me talk with National Amusements. He called me today and he says, National Amusements does have a lot of money. He says that's why they've sat on this thing, because it doesn't really affect their financials. So they are now going through and looking for a partner to go into the site to provide a high-end use. He indicated he'd be in touch with me when he goes through and finds the right partner that he wants to be with, and then I'll set up a meeting with the agency with him.
We still have a problem with access though, right? Even if
He
it's
still
their
has a problem with
development.
access, but we discussed the ways of doing it. And one option is to go through and put a flyover right onto his site off of Route 35.
Yeah.
Or the other one is to go through and work out a deal with O'Neill where they jointly put in the overpass, or he puts it in, and O'Neill allows him to go through and put it on his property where it's anticipated to come in now, and then swing it into the back. And he's going to be meeting with developers to talk about those options. I said to him, they're expensive, recognize it up front, but that is the only way you're gonna really have good access into your site. So I
Good.
thought the agency would be pleased to hear that at least there's some interest going on right now.
What kind of development, do you say what kind of development?
We talked about what I just said, okay, meaning a higher end use, hotels, conference centers, things
Right.
like that. But I'm sure it's gonna be a mix of things.
If you want, what about this?
All right, thank you, Dave. Any other comments from the commissioner?
Just under comments, I'd like to wish everybody Merry Christmas,
Merry Christmas.
very happy and healthy New Year. I think we've had a good year, and let's continue in the new year coming.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas,
everybody. Here we go, Jim.
Can I have a motion to go to public? Is
So moved.
there a second?
I second.
All in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Make a motion to public portion be closed.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Make a
Ayes have
motion,
it.
Madam.
All right,
I have a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
make a motion, we,
All in favor?
So you don't piss me.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
so you sent this to